Hi everyone, it's Pastor Gayleen over at Corralitos Community Church giving a little update of some of the highlights from this past year. And one of the great testimonies is how God met us when we needed to use technology to continue our vision, reaching out into the community. Two things come to mind when I think of the technology. One, God worked out something so cool. The summer before all the pandemic changes needed to be made, we had an intern working here for the summer. One of the things that we had him do was research what kind of video gear we might need if we were ever going to try streaming. It wasn't even a year later that everything shut down and we were called upon to reach out creatively, digitally, and God had laid the tracks for us. We had that gear and we were ready to go, and I give all praise to Him for that. Number two, using our digital resources, God met us again. We had one of our soul-winning moments through digital means. It was through our Facebook stream that one of our regular attendees who lives out of the area, up in the Sonora area, her husband chose to follow Jesus for the first time through the invitations that Theo was giving through our weekend services online. So, go technology, go Jesus. One of our testimonies this year is that we've had 30 people in core groups, and we're thrilled that we have trained core group pastors, and now they have apprentices there training, and each group has about 10 people who are digging into the Word on Zoom, in backyards, with masks. We've seen them in so many different shapes, but God is faithful. All praise to Him for what's happening in the core group ministry. Something else God has done has been to bless us in the area of worship. One of our prayers has been that God would bring up a replacement for our longtime 30-year music minister, Dan Wilkins. And in the last couple of months, during this crazy year of pandemic, God has provided a new young couple who has felt called to lead and worship at our church. I know our theme this year is Emerge Victorious, so I'm standing with the butterfly behind me. And I'm thanking God that this year we had 3 people in March choose to become members of our Corralitos Community Church family as formal members. And that was exciting to have our starting point class, which is where we teach about our history and polity and beliefs. And we had one of those on Zoom. And it was super cool that through those efforts, there were 3 people who decided to embrace the vision of Corralitos Community Church and the Free Methodist Church, even during this year of pandemic. Something else that God did was bring creativity. Especially loved the outdoor movie night that we had, where we drew chalk circles and kept the family spaced, but there was still popcorn, and the outdoor worship nights that we were able to have, and the creativity God gave us to have something called pastors' parking lot parties, where our older folks or whoever could just drive through the parking lot and wave at us, or sit out under a canopy spaced with their masks, just to foster community and keep people connected. Another testimony is that our people were challenged to have spiritual conversations in more ways than they had been before. And this is something we were starting right before COVID. So it's a testimony of this past year that people were challenged to have more spiritual conversations. And we loved how our people took the challenge, and you could see some of the seeds we were doing. People would put a seed in a jar as they took a step of faith and love and reached out to have a spiritual conversation. So those were spiritual seeds. Another hallelujah moment.